Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Awesomenauts Rumble Skolldir Showdown. Again, my name is Mr. Pillow, and joining with me once again is Pyro Cheese. Your mic's muted.
Indeed, my mic was muted that whole time, so hey, I'm here, I'm Pyro, I have a voice.
Alright, but you might have a voice, but the Breathtaker is on the field, because our next match is Niki, or his alt, as his alt goes by, Breathtaker 2000, because I think only like one person probably got that joke, which is probably even worse for me having to explain it than it originally was. But it's Niki versus eddster. We have a kind of another Clash of the Titans type of match going on here. That's really all that's left. Is everything is Clash of the Titans from here on out, and also yeah. I mean, there's nothing left to say about these players that we haven't already said today. Who do you think's gonna win, Pyro? And who do you think's gonna win, chat? Again, if you type in the chat who you think is going to win, these guys are gonna play exactly 2 matches. If you guess correctly, you'll be eligible for a giveaway after the match. They'll play 2 no matter if they win or lose. Either Niki can win 2, Ed can win 2, or they each win 1. Just type your guess. Pyro, what do you think?
I think just by the nature of the beast, I think Niki is always going to be in favor no matter who he's up against, frankly, especially in these 1v1 situations. But at the same time, eddster, very, very good. You know, like you're saying, Clash of the Titans at this point. It's just, you know, whoever wins, it's just going to be quite the spectacle to see regardless. So when it comes to who's going to be winning, I'm just here more for the show than anything else. So, I mean, you know, as part of the caster, we have to be a little bit more objective. But it's at the same time, really, it's going to be quite the show, whoever comes out on top.
Indeed. So, I would have to say that I kind of agree. It's going to be a close match. Niki is the safer bet here. But, I mean, it's Niki versus Ed. It's not like Ed hasn't won against Niki before. You know, we saw it in the Awesomenauts Arena League. We saw it in the Awesomenauts Doubles Tournament. You know, Niki's won against Ed plenty of times. We saw it in the original Awesomenauts Rumble Tournament. We saw it in the more recent, what do you call it? Awesomenauts League with Vets Galactic Warfare. It took me a second to think of the name. But I was like, what? I was like, Hail WB, what is that? But anyways, so these guys have definitely shown performance against each other. I do think that the Niki's got to be a very safe bet, but I mean, it's anybody's game.
No, yeah, I mean, like, if we want to like be like, you know, the god bleeds, you know, they're both a very, very good player, but you know, they both have faults at some point. You know, like you're saying, it's not like Niki hasn't lost before, it's not like eddster hasn't won before, and it's kind of like just seeing how this plays out exactly. It's a little bit of a different dynamic than some of the other tournaments. This is a 1v1, this is Skolldir, which is a lot more rare, and just seeing how this plays out is definitely going to be an interesting way to continue this show.
Indeed. With that said, I am at the 9-second mark. Would you like to give us a countdown?
That sounds good. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, and we're off. It's gonna be Niki going and trying to try and take him out, and not much happening. They've actually done a lot of misses, but there's gonna be a very nice throw off the jump pad.
Yeah, definitely a lot more motion than I would see like on the average people, and definitely a lot more opportunistic throws, I would say, instead of, you know, waiting for some kind of change. A lot more coming out in the way of, you know, just throwing when they're right in front of you, not necessarily waiting for any kind of chain or any kind of a CC just to get that throw off, either for raw damage or, again, just getting a little bit more control over the situation, getting the placement, as well as hopefully some follow-up from Oily in that case. And that is going to be 2-0 in favor of Niki already, and Niki is still looking pretty okay health-wise, you know, roughly hovering around 90%. Medican doing some work there.
Oh,
and that was pretty beautiful, I gotta say. That was basically textbook what we were talking about earlier, just, you know, throwing off the edge, using the Oily to get a quick stun so that they just simply can't get to the jump pad, and really not much you can do if you're in that situation, especially against someone who knows what they're doing and knows how to do it well.
Dude, and he is starting to take some damage pretty much the first time so far. It's 3-0 in his favor. But he's doing a good job. He's going in for it again. He's getting a lot of damage. He's gonna pick up another frag, I believe. Yeah, he does have that. And I mean, Ed knows that Niki's gonna be going in. Niki knows that Ed knows it, and he does anyways, and just successfully lands a bunch of his stuff. And he manages to get Ed to about half before he dies. So 4.5 kills essentially for Niki off one life. That's rough. That is a rough start for Ed. Ed has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he definitely does, but it's still possible. You know, 5-1 now, so it's a little less possible, but you know, still possible.
So what does eddster need to do to start getting the upper hand? I guess that was that answered my question right there. He needs to do that. He needs to do that like a lot.
Just keep doing that. Just like do that forever. Just never stop doing that. No, but in all seriousness, I think it really comes down to being a little less predictable. I think of what it comes down to, because you know, again, going back to some of the things that I was saying off the top of the show, when it comes to Skolldir, it is a lot about rhythm, a lot about predictability, reading your opponent, and Niki is just really good at doing that. You know, like you were saying, he doesn't need the third punch to immobilize his opponent in order to get a throw, or he doesn't need the snare from Quake in order to be able to land the third punch to eventually be able to land the throw. He's confident enough to just go for the throw just like that. Like, he didn't need any kind of setup, any kind of follow through. Just get towards your opponent, get that throw, and you're good to go. And I think in that way, I don't really know what he could do to be a little less predictable, whether it be maybe a little more cautious or something along those lines. But you know, at the same time, it's something that is definitely coming into play, just being a little bit less of a target, I guess, is kind of the short way that I'm trying to get that point across.
Indeed. And I think he's bullying, man. Might be in a bit of a pickle there, but eddster's not gonna be able to find the follow-up. Now Niki's gonna go in with the throw. He almost had that, but either way, eddster's gonna die. I think. Okay, he's got a sliver of HP left. I think he's just gonna go in, try and find. He's gonna find a second punch in a Quake. The Quake doing the last hit there, and yeah, there's gonna be. He's not gonna find the throw yet. He's taking lots of damage in this situation, and he tries to flutter around a little bit, and yeah, not much really happening as of yet.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's what it comes down to, and that was a good pickoff right there. Eddster is kind of picking up the slack a little bit, closing the gap that used to be 4-0 basically, but now is at least a 3-kill difference and a little bit of a lead on the health pool here as well. So you never know, he might have a shot at this still.
Indeed. And gonna be taking a lot more damage there. Niki gonna be going down once again, and that's actually gonna bring it just a 2-kill deficit. Eddster's making the comeback, and it's relatively even on HP at this particular moment. Eddster going in, and he whiffs the throw. That's not good. He's gonna take a Quake. He's in prime throw position. They both know it. He's just probably gonna. He's actually, the throw's gonna be whiffed on both sides. Quake missed too. Both players whiffed all their abilities at the same time. It's kind of interesting. But Ed's gonna get the third punch back. He's gonna whiff his next Quake. He has his throw and finds Niki and picks up the frag, bringing it 8-7. Niki really needs to kill him now so he can have some breathing room more than anything. He's gonna get a little bit of the throw, the Quake, not the throw. He's gonna be taking some damage. He's gonna go down to half. Eddster's just about wrapped this.
Oh, come on, Eddster. Come on.
Never mind. Niki should win this.
I was about to say that I feel like Niki is actually starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. He's not as aggressive anymore, being a little bit more cautious in general. Being a little bit more careful around Eddster, because, you know, even if the game started out 4-0, it is a lot closer now. And as I say that, it is over. So
talk about sealing your own fate, Eddster, yeah. My dude.
You had such an edge. You actually had him on his toes towards the end, but unfortunately, it just happens. Some bad luck, some misplay. Falling off the edge there was definitely not the play you wanted to go with. I don't know what mind games you might have been wanting to go for there, but obviously not worth the risk in that scenario. But a good game nonetheless, actually being able to tighten that lead that what's his face, niki had in the early game definitely is, proving his worth at the very least. Again, all of these players deserve to be here, and for good reason. That's just one of the ways to demonstrate that, or evidence of that.
I completely agree with what you're saying. Talk about just an unfortunate way for it to go, though. This eddster was so close to bringing that back too. So, and you could just you were talking about reading the body language of a player, as odd as it might seem to say, but I totally get what you mean. And like, you could just see how Ed just kind of was like, well, fuck this, basically, after he suicided. He was like, well, crap, I guess I'm not winning this one anymore.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate, with all the defeatism and whatever, you start just playing sloppy, and it's unfortunate because both players were playing really cleanly overall, again, going for throws that didn't need any kind of setup for themselves or things like that. Those are very impressive feats in their own right, and just be able to see that, being able to do that consistently throughout the match is certainly something worthwhile to point out.
Indeed. But I am ready for the next match if you are, my friend.
I am indeed. I just need to find out what time they start.
10 seconds.
10 seconds? Alright. And I am there.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, and go. And niki's immediately going to take that right pad, going to look for the Quake, not going to really find anything as of yet. Going to go for the throw, he manages to get the Mighty Breeze damage off, not anything else really. And gets a Quake on. Might be going for a big throw here, but not before eddster can get a throw himself onto niki. Gets another third punch in, doing a nice little tick of damage there, and actually going to get the HP advantage. And first blood is kind of really anyone's there. Eddster just whiffed, so I do believe it's going to go to niki now, as long as niki properly capitalizes. He's actually getting slightly baited.
We'll see. Niki is a little bit lower now, and pretty much any kind of hit is going to do it, and that throw is going to do it just from the Mighty Grease, I guess is the item name, damage. But eddster is going to be hoping to maintain this lead. Like I said, even with niki getting the early lead last game, he was able to pull it through. So, maybe that's going to be some of the dynamics that we see with these players. That, early in the match, it's a bit more of an endurance match, even if these are relatively short games. That if you get an early lead, that doesn't really mean that you're going to win. If you start kind of losing your footing, kind of maybe getting a little bit cocky, or just starting to get a little bit frustrated, that could very easily be the end of the line for you.
Indeed, and oh, okay, that was a nice third hit. He's about to take some damage. eddster going in to seal the deal, just trying to get it done. Yeah, not much going on here. Misses the Quake, gets the Gnome, but not before niki misses his throw entirely, but gets the Quake damage. And they're kind of really going at it. They're trying to play pretty cautiously, but they're they're not doing anything that they shouldn't. Like, they're not playing bad at all. So it's actually, you don't really see that much occurring when both are playing really good, because like kind of everything that happens to one player happens to the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And talk about like unpredictability. I think that's one of the big things that are being seen. Oh, that's gonna be a nice kill just off the edge for eddster right there. But that was a nice pick off nonetheless. But yeah, there's been a couple instances where they can get a reaction throw or things like that. So similar kill right there for niki off of eddster, just throwing him off to the edge. Evening things up now, 3-3 as well. Much closer match than it was, at least early in this one, than the last one. But I keep getting distracted. Just like when it comes to predictability, a lot of it comes down to, especially on the jump pad, are they going to take the jump pad or are they not? Because a lot of the times that I've seen throughout this tourney, it seems like if they're on the edge of the map, if they're going to be jumping, using their double jump to get up in the air, that just means they're going to go for the jump pad. It's almost like inevitable, you could say. But in this case, they seem to be a little more comfortable using their double jump and just plainly landing on the normal ground, just to maybe change things up. It just mix things up ever so slightly enough to maybe throw the other person off.
I completely get what you're saying here, and I definitely agree. eddster gonna get a nice another throw off of niki and deal some nice damage, but niki gets a sick throw there. That was actually very, very savage and well done. It's gonna get a very unexpected lead. I think eddster was pretty confident he was gonna get that there, and now just kind of fishing out, and finds the third punch, needs the health. That's going to be good for him. And going around, there's going to be the throws. He's taking a lot of damage. He's going to take his time to come off that jump pad and tries to do some tech there. Not going to find it, and And he's just kind of in a bad situation. He's below Eddster. Eddster's got the high ground, not to be that guy, but he does. And the HP
Don't underestimate his
wasn't
power.
favorable. We managed to find the punch for residual damage, and there's the styling that we've come to know and expect. It's the Quake, it's the third punch. Now Eddster's going to guide to the DOT.
Yeah, that was actually surprisingly long, a single bout. A lot of these plays have been super aggressive, or like, you know, very in your face, or at least a lot of motion to say the least. But that was, I wouldn't say cautious, but just a lot more deliberate in all of its actions. Eddster just going to be able to make that jump pad to save himself from the abyss. Niki, again, in kind of a situation where literally anything that hits him is probably going to be the end of him. Unless he's able to maintain this kind of momentum lead. Again, going with that rhythm and all that, that's so important. Even if you're at one bar, if you can maintain that rhythm where you can land those third punches or land abilities, or even just plain old jukes, that can definitely turn the tides for you, if not give you a huge advantage even against a full health opponent.
Indeed. Oh, and there's gonna be a good throw. Oh, and takes him off the map. That was
that was almost dirty. He was right there on the jump pad. It just stopped him short. But that is going to make it 8-5 in favor of Niki. Eddster, again, he's been in this kind of situation before, and we've seen that he's at least capable of doing something similar in terms of a comeback to this. That is going to be an off-screen kill for Niki, though. And I feel like Eddster is starting to be a little sloppy, I feel. You know, just letting himself spawn on that third punch. You know, like I said, you are able to see what the other opponent is doing, so he could have very easily just waited half a second to avoid that third punch. But, you know, regardless...
Punch trade right there, but that's a punch trade Niki can afford to make, as it's going to be the last kill for him.
Absolutely. So that is going to be a trade kill as well. So I guess you can mark that as the second solar spill, or whatever term you want to call it right there. But that is going to be a 2-0 win for Niki.
On the canon of what it's called.
What is it called? Sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. We need Ronimo to officially determine what the canon is for what it's called.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, guys, we are going to take a short break. We only have a few more matches left. Do not go anywhere, my friends.